Hey there, blade fans. Welcome back to another collection video. I figured I've got so many TwoSun knives, it's time to bring out a few, and I very awryly labeled this uh, some favorite TwoSuns that have the numbers on the blades. Because there was a transition. Initially, TwoSun, if you've ever seen one of the TwoSun boxes, there's no label on the outside. They all look the same. They're just a cardboard slip cover. And they mentioned nothing about the knife inside. And the early models, when you looked at the blade, it said TwoSun. And occasionally it gave the name of the designer. And that was about it. And you had to know the name of the knife because that's what you usually won on eBay. Or more of late, that's what you purchased from White Mountain Knives, because White Mountain Knives is unique in that they actually carry an inventory of TwoSun knives. In the past year or so, that's basically where I've been getting my TwoSun knives. Initially, these knives were offered in D2. Later on, they expanded to M390, quite a jump. And then a little while after that, they started going middle of the road with 14C28N. And since then, they've even offered things like OS 10 and N690, CO, and so on and so forth. So sky's kind of the limit. It's an interesting company, I find, in that we have some really unique designs, some class designs, and designs that perhaps no other knife maker had been doing till maybe recently. I think knife companies have gotten a little more bold with their designs. But let's take a look at a few of these. There's 5 of them out here. I've got way more than these. So if your favorite knife isn't here, just bear with me, and maybe we'll do another run. But I don't have room on the table for like 60, 70, 80 knives, which is, I think, somewhere where the count is. Here is a knife designed by Wang Dejian, and I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. Easier just to say Wang Designs, and then, of course, people joke about that. This is the TS. And some of these knives, by the way, have nicknames, but you have to sort of dig to find out what they are. I'll tell you the truth. I still do get a hold of TwoSun knives because they're very compelling, particularly when I see something thrown up on Instagram by White Mountain Knives showing a newer model. I may grab it or I may pass. But this one really grabbed me. This is 14C28N. So far, I've only got a number, although you guys who are really into TwoSun, and I wish I was really into TwoSun like I used to. I memorized all the numbers. I just don't have time for that because I am buying and doing reviews on so many different brands of different price points, and both USA made and made in China and made in Taiwan and so on and so forth, made in Italy. So Wang Design, TS286 out of 14C28N. It is a really comfortable and interesting design. I like knives where there's some thought given to how you're going to hold the darn thing. And here we've got a choil. It's not a very deep one. It's a shallow choil for your finger, but nonetheless effective. We have titanium bolsters. We've got a brown burlap micarta on this one. No voids, very smooth, and I like that. Some of that burlap stuff is all sort of got holes in it and so on and so forth. But as I mentioned, I like the material. Probably not the most attractive material in the world, but I think with that kind of tumbled, stone-washed bolster, it's kind of a match for that roughness. And we've got a kind of a stone-washed, not too heavily, very neat spear point blade. I mean, here's a knife that's got some good utilitarian potential, as well as, you know, some good useful jimping. You got a swale there for your thumb. Got one in the handle if you want to pinch back a little bit. And you can choke up like that. So I find this to be a great design. Lanyard hole, half back spacer, and a pretty thick stock on the blade. Now, individual reviews exist on my channel on all of these. Just look them up by the name. So you want to know more about this guy? Just do a search for TS 286. That simple. I'm amazed at how many people will ask me questions. And look, I don't want to say stupid questions, but you know, maybe a little more research could have been done before asking the question. It's kind of like, where do I find the pockets on my pants? Well, geez, let me describe that for you. Okay, well, I'll get off of that soapbox. You have legitimate questions that aren't answered by this review or by the individual review, absolutely reach out. And I'll even research things for you. I've gone back to some knives and measured things for people, and they want to know this, that, or the other thing. And, you know, I can't recall. Maybe the review is 2 years old, 3 years old. I've got almost 1,000, if not more, videos up there at this point. Here, we're going to move over to this, I will say, little guy, kind of a tall little guy. It's interesting because I wonder if my camera is focusing as it should. Yeah, I think it is. A very tall blade. And this is a, this is a Mazwan Mokhtar design. See, you can tell by the symbol. It took me a while to recognize his symbol, but yes, that is his symbol. And this one is from M390, so higher class of materials. But you know, even on these 14C knives, you're most of the time dealing with titanium somewhere in the knife. This one, we've got all titanium with this big kind of swoosh inlay of carbon fiber. And yes, carbon fiber on both sides. Bonus. A inletted clip that's kind of keyed in. Because of that, it's not switchable to the left side of the knife, unfortunately. This is a frame lock that is very smooth. Yes, that's a frame lock as well. So they're not cheaping out just giving us regular old liner locks and whatnot here. They're giving us some quality built knives, and there's an interesting pivot right there with that. They're starting to do this more on the more recent knives with that tri design on the milled into the pivot. And I think there's actually a tool that fits that as well, even though that's a T8 inside in the middle. And it's got to be a keyed in pivot because there's nothing on this side for you to put a wrench in. It's thumb stud only on this guy. Fires really, really well. And here's another one where we've got a pretty useful, but not quite as large finger choil. Pretty thick M390 blade with that forward belly. Very useful. This one's not going to fall into the category of tactical. Well, many knives do and can. This is really kind of a skinner, I would say. A slicer that, excuse the fingerprints, a lot of these are fingerprint magnets if they've got a little bit of a polish even over the stonewash. I think that's the case with this one. Sort of a bead blast / stonewash with a bit of a polish over it. But yeah, that's a slicey son of a gun with that tall flat grind. A couple of knives have fooled me lately, and I've called them hollow when they're really flat. This looks like it could be an integral, but obviously with that seam down the middle, it is not. Integrals very often will make use of the holes there, but it is a fully enclosed knife. It's not open in the back other than those holes, 5 holes. Mechanics on all of the TwoSun knives, I would say 99% of them, completely solid. Occasionally, any knife from any manufacturer is going to need some tweaking. And if it's tweaking you can't do, then, you send it back. And Justin up at White Mountain is fully willing to take your knife back if you're not happy with it. Satisfaction guaranteed. He also will give you 10% off if you use my discount code, Old Sword. And he will not charge you anything for shipping, nor will he charge you tax. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 milled in grooves there for jimping, and it's actually pretty effective. Even with that short little run, it's pretty grippy. Or you could come up here if you're going forward. But yeah, a shorter knife, but still with about a 1/2 inch left over on a full grip. I think it's a little over 3 inches on the blade. We'll tell you exactly how long it is. 3 1/4. So not a real small knife, but smaller, like medium small. Oh, let's go up here. This is special. This is an M398 blade, not M390, M398. Supposedly a slight improvement on M390. I don't know all the metallurgical details, but you can look it up. And this is another Mazwan Mokhtar design. You can see the same symbol. Really an interesting knife, and very smooth. Got these 4 square rectangular chunks diminishing in size that go into this fuller on the handle on both sides, even under the clip. It's complete. They didn't shortchange us. We got a clip and we've got that design on both sides. Very impressive. It is both a hole opener, you can easily middle finger flick it, or flick it with your thumb. It nestles down in there a bit, but mainly it is a back flipper with that flipper very muted. Doesn't rise up very much, but you catch it from the front and pull back. It's a light switcher. So you can even choke up a little bit onto the frame and get out there. Very nice short run of jimping, even more grippy than that last one. And oh yes, these are all supposed to have numbers. So this is the TS 306. Backing up, if I didn't mention it, this is the TS 264 by Mazwan Mokhtar. And this one was much in demand, and I think they came out with it afterwards in D2. I'm not sure. But this was certainly the higher end materials on this knife. Just beautifully made. I mean, the milling and where they use micro milling, you can see there, they do a beautiful job. I mean, these are top-notch knives at a budget price. I wouldn't say totally budget, but so often you can get a knife like this for like, 100, 125, maybe 150 at the most. Could be more than that, but you're not over 200. And you're getting a great design with really high-end materials. Another knife company probably charges $300, $350. Really nice clip on this one too. It kind of comes up like it wants to be a Persian, and then it clips off, and then we got kind of a harpoon going on here. Really, really interesting. You hear a noise in the background. It's my heater. It's getting kind of cold these days. So yes, I have resorted to using the heater in the basement where my studio and workspace is. Here is a crazy knife. This is designed by Max to Chuck. And yes, that is a hole, a giant hole in the middle of the blade. And a lot of people are saying, oh, that's absurd. I would never get that. But look at some of the crazy designs out there these days. And this is one that is also marked the 382, TS 382. It's in 14C28N. The idea being that you put your finger through and get a really secure grip on that knife where you're not going to slide forward, not too likely. Got a finger choil if you want to use it. Got lots of jimping that is effective all the way through, even up in the area near the frame there. And I'm going to turn off that background noise so we are not bothered by it. Some days are just endless sources of aggravation, you know. Let's get back to the Max to Chuck knife here. I have a hard time with this one, I think because of the detent. Being able to open it with that hole. You would think with a hole that size that you could easily open it, but this one is far more easily opened with the front flipper. But just, yeah, it's insane. You're still going to be able to cut with it, although you're going to get stuff bunched up in that hole for sure if you're slicing through meats and other materials, so you may find some limited usefulness there. And did I say it was the TS 382? I believe I did. Out of 14C28N. But you can hold it almost like a push dagger, right? Or you can probably hold it like that. I don't know. I mean, it is kind of strange. He went really out there on this design. But hey, is it cool? Yes, it's cool. You got that perforated sort of clip with the ceramic bowl. Nice stonewash on the titanium. Frame lock with hardened steel insert. And drop shut. Very cool design. Max to Chuck. What do we got left? Just one. Really? Just one? Yeah, just one. Number 5. So let's see what we've got here, because I said they've all got the numbers on the blades. And it is the TS 287. If you didn't know, TS stands for TwoSun. Yes, it does. A Wong design again, 14C28N. And again, you guys that are really on the inner circle of TwoSun collecting, you may have a name for this one as well. Feel free. Let me know. Again, I'm not following too close these days. Sort of remembering, even having difficulty remembering knives with names. How's that? We have a useful choil, so long as you keep your finger sideways. Works pretty well. And they sort of kick that heel back a little bit, but it is sort of pointing down. So you're going to have to watch. If you get in there quickly, you could definitely stick your side of your finger on that. Beautiful fuller, kind of a Persian influence. Mr. Wong likes to do a lot of Persians. I've probably got a good half a dozen or so of his designs from TwoSun that are Persian inspired. It's a nice, light, and extremely well balanced knife that is very ergonomic. And you've got enough, even with the swedge there on the top, to lay your thumb right down there. Some nice milling in here. Got the grooved micro milling going on there. You can feel it. Has kind of a file-like touch to it. Everywhere where it's cut in there on the handle, you've got that micro milling. That is not a small amount of work for the CNC guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this kind of a quick overview on these 5 knives from TwoSun with numbers on the blades. It makes them special. I forget what year they started putting numbers on the blades, but I know I probably some of you would know, but certainly there was a time, and I probably got roughly half the collection with no numbers on the blades, so perhaps that's what makes these unique. But I have a number more that do have the numbers on the blades, and maybe we'll explore those somewhere down the line. Well, I hope you enjoyed this collection video, and don't forget to give it a like if you would, and subscribe to my channel. I'll be back soon. This Old Sword, signing out.